Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw a seagull. First we'll draw a few simple shapes, then we'll add the final drawing on top using easy line work, and then we'll color the drawing and also add a background. I'll include a link to the materials used in the description below. Let's jump in. Start by drawing a circle as a guide for the front part of the body. And an easy way to draw a circle is to first make a couple of small marks to indicate the circle's height, and then on the sides make a couple more small marks to indicate the circle's width. Then just connect the small marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. And sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Also pause the video as you follow along to draw at your own pace. And you don't have to draw a perfect circle, but if you're having trouble drawing one, just trace the outer edge of a coin or a bottle cap or anything else with a circular edge. Above that, draw another circle as a guide for the head. And use the 4 marks method to draw this circle too, and first make a few small marks to indicate the sides of the circle, and then connect the small marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. And make this circle about 1/3 the size of the first circle. And don't draw this circle too close to the body circle or the neck will be too short. And draw the circle slightly to the left. Inside the head, draw a horizontal line to split the circle in half. And this is a construction guide that will help you place the facial features later. And to the left, draw a couple of sloping lines for the first part of the guide for the beak, and make these lines slightly shorter than the width of the circle. And on the left side, close off the shape with a short curved line. And pay attention to the size of the beak in relation to the head. And on the right side, make a small mark for the first part of the back portion of the body, and then connect the small mark to the big circle using curved lines to finish the guide for the back portion of the body. And the resulting shape should be similar to an arc on its side. And pay attention to the distance between the first initial small mark and to the circle. Don't draw it too close together because this arc needs to be big. And now connect the body to the head using a couple of curved lines to create the guide for the neck. And the shape of the neck should be pretty wide. Curve the line on the right slightly to make the shape of the head a bit wider. On the bottom right side of the body, draw a big triangular shape as a guide for the tail. And draw this shape using a couple of sloping lines that come together on the right side to create a pointy tip. And don't draw the shape of the tail too long. Seagulls have pretty short tails. And under the body, draw an angled line as a guide for the leg. This line should be similar to a backward letter L. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Inside the head, lightly sketch a small circle for the eye. Place the eye on top of the horizontal construction guide and below the top edge of the head circle. And when you get the size and position of the eye right, darken the shape. As you darken the shape of the eye, make the sides pointier for the corners of the eye. Use a thick dark line as you darken the shape. Use a couple of curved lines around the eye for a bit of bare skin. These are just a couple of creases around the eye. And keep these lines close to the shape of the eye. And in the middle of the eye, draw a small circle and shade it in for the pupil. Now use the arc on the left side of the head as a guide to draw the beak. And first, darken the top part of the guide to create the top part of the beak. And on the left side, extend the line slightly farther outside the shape to create the pointy tip of the beak. And then draw a long line across the shape for the beak's opening, or the mouth. And extend this line far to the right so that it's inside the head. And now follow the basic path of the guide at the bottom to draw the bottom section of the beak. Make the bottom section of the beak slightly thinner than the guide. And on the right side of the shape, draw a couple of curved lines for the base of the beak. Use a couple of short lines at the bottom to create a feathery texture on the base of the beak. And at the top, draw another short line for the nostril. Now follow the basic shape of the initial circle to draw the rest of the head. And add a sloping line on the left side to create the forehead, or the front part of the head. Make the shape of the head slightly wider than the initial guides. And at the bottom, curve the line to the right slightly more than the initial guide. If you've made it this far, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And now let's move on to the body. Inside the body, lightly sketch a long curved line for the folded wing. And the bottom part of this line should be very close to the bottom edge of the body. And make this line long so that it cuts across all three sections of the body, including the tail. And when you get the shape of the folded wing right, darken the lines. On the left side, draw a series of short angled lines to represent a feathery texture on the folded wing. And then darken the lines at the bottom. Add a couple of curved lines on the right tip of the wing for individual feathers. And don't make these lines too wide, just draw a couple of thin feathers along the right edge of the folded wing. And darken the top part of the guides to create the top part of the folded wing. And add a couple of more angled lines near the tip of the wing for more individual feathers. And now use the angled line under the body as a guide to draw the leg. And first, draw a short angled line at the top for the base of the leg. And then just draw the shape of the leg at the bottom around the guideline. And use a small curved round shape near the top of the leg to create the joint. And keep the edges of the leg close to the guide so that the shape is thin. And at the bottom, darken the line to create the foot. And then draw a wavy line on the left side to create the tip of the foot. And from this angle, you can't really see the webbing on the feet, but just draw a wavy line to create the tip of the foot. And now draw a similar shape on the left side for the other leg. So use the first leg as a template as you draw this second leg. This leg should also be similar to a backward letter L. And don't overlap the first leg as you draw this leg. Use a wavy line on the left side to draw the webbing on the foot. Add a couple of pointy shapes to create the individual toes, but overall, you don't really see the toes, so just draw a wavy line to represent the front of the foot. And don't draw these two legs too far apart. Notice that the spacing between the legs is very narrow. And now darken the outer edges of the initial guidelines to create the shape of the body. And add a couple of thin curved shapes on the right side to make the shape of the tail slightly longer and to create a few individual feathers on the tail. And now let's move on to finalize the drawing. Erase the guidelines to create a cleaner drawing. And you don't have to erase all of the guidelines, but if you want to get rid of most of them, it's helpful to use a quick eraser like I'm using. And this is a very thin eraser. It's similar to a mechanical pencil, but it has the tip of an eraser. So that helps you get between the final lines and get rid of most of the guidelines. You can also use a kneaded eraser to pick up some of the graphite so that when you go over your final drawing with ink, you don't smudge it. And now go over the final lines with permanent ink. And be careful when you ink your drawing to avoid any accidents. And when the ink dries, erase all of the guidelines. Now color your drawing. Color the beak and the eye different shades of orange. Use a bit of brown to create shadows on the beak. And now color the folded wing and the tail using different shades of gray. I'm using alcohol markers to color, but you can use colored pencils too. Use darker shades of gray on the undersides of the shapes of the wing to create shadows. Leave a few curved lines blank on the tail to create white feathers. Add a few shadows across the white sections of the body using light gray and a bit of blue. Shadows will give the figure more dimension and volume. Use different shades of pink to color the legs. Use dark pink and a bit of brown for the shadows, and then light pink and a bit of yellow for the highlights. Now add a cast shadow at the bottom using dark brown. Add a bit of light brown and some yellow to create sort of a sandy texture under the seagull. Add a few small sections of regular brown to emphasize the texture on the sand. And you can stop here if you'd like, but I've gotten a few comments requesting that I do more backgrounds on my drawings, so if you'd like you can continue on and add a beach background on your drawing too. If you'd like, you can add some tape on the edges of your paper to create a border on your drawing. Add more light brown and yellow across the bottom to create more of the sand. And use darker and brighter shades of brown near the bottom and lighter shades of brown near the top. And this will sort of give the illusion of the sand receding backward. And blend the colors using a light shade of brown too. And near the middle, use a dark shade of brown to create more of a wet texture on the sand. Add a bit of blue and green higher up to emphasize the wetness of the sand. Now draw a long wavy line across the paper using dark gray to create the edge of the water. And above that, leave a big area blank, but add a few small sections of gray to create the foam on the water. And higher up, draw the ocean using different shades of blue. And for the ocean, use a dark shade of blue at the top and then gradually make the colors lighter toward the bottom. And you can use a ruler at the top to get the horizon perfectly straight. Add a bit of light blue above the ocean for the blue sky. Continue to add more of the same colors on top of each other to get more of a saturated result. Coloring can be very time consuming, so be patient and take breaks. Go over the final lines on the seagull one more time to emphasize the shapes. Add more dark blue to the ocean to create shadows across the water. Now add some highlights across the ocean using a white pen or a bit of whiteout to create a sparkling effect across the water. You can add a bit more detail with your colored pencils if you'd like. And when you're done, remove the tape to reveal a white border. And that's it for the seagull. Remember to pause the video to draw at your own pace. Also, please visit howtodrawanimals.com for more tutorials. That's how and then the number 2 then drawanimals.com. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying my books on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. Let me know in the comments what other animals you want to see me draw. Don't forget to leave a like and to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.